So we're at Mobile World Congress 2018. I'm Ray LeMaitre from Light Reading here for OrbTV, and we're here with Howard Watson from BT. Howard, good to see you again.
Hi Ray, good to see you too.
Thanks for coming along today. So I'm going to start off chatting today about how things have evolved in the industry in the last year and what's changed from the Mobile World Congress of last year to this year. What have you seen that's different?
I think what I've seen that's different and what is encouraging is we are now starting to see 5G new radio CPE, and I think it's we're not quite seeing them in handsets yet,
right?
But everybody's talking about that. But I think that's a great sort of result on the back of the 3GPP standard being release 15 being pulled forward a little bit. So it's great to start seeing the outcome of that here.
And incredibly swift development in terms of how things are moving on. So
yeah, and I'm confident that will continue over the next 12 months as well. Okay.
So as this kind of technology does start to come into networks and services start to be developed, what needs to happen? There's the sexy stuff. People are holding up, new devices or new home devices that will connect to a 5G network. What needs to happen behind the scenes to actually make the services happen and to secure and manage those services and all the new infrastructure that's coming on board?
Well, I think if you look at and talk to most of the operators here, we're all looking at deploying 5G new radio in what's called non-standalone mode, i.e. on our existing 4G cores.
Yeah.
And I think that will work, that will work really well for enhanced mobile broadband. And that will be our initial launch propositions and where we'll get the initial return on investment. The next step is key though, and we are starting to see a little bit about it in terms of the core network and how we create opportunities that network slicing delivers or virtualization in the core. The challenge though is getting the software side of that done. And I think the virtualization, the control of that, the artificial intelligence that can take the data that's produced by the network and do useful things with it, I think that's an area that we need to be spending more focus on.
Okay, and as you talk to other operators, are they in line with, we've talked before about how if you're going to automate processes, you need to know that they are already working, that the data is accurate, otherwise you're automating something that's not going to work. Is everybody on that same path and aligned on that and at the starting point of how to make that happen?
I think that point about automating working processes absolutely is critical, but it sort of applies to applying automation to existing processes. I think here we're in a greenfield environment in terms of the new 5G core, and so we need to design right from the start automation into that, and it's about the network streaming more information and then us really interrogating that and working out how to take action.
Okay.
And your point about operators, I think we're all focused on that. I think there is a sort of priority here. There's enhanced mobile broadband, there's get the core technology working, and then there's automation, security, and other features. And I do think those latter two need to converge a bit more.
Okay. And is there alignment around security? Because I'm sure, 5G environment, obviously the Internet of Things ecosystem will have developed, and you're going to have billions of things connected to networks, and the network traffic is going to just be enormous. Is there alignment on how to plan and secure those kind of networks?
Well, I think on the security point, it links into the service-based architecture that we're working on 5G. And what's important about that, which is different from, say, the Internet of Things, is we want to be in a position where you can guarantee end-to-end delivery.
Right.
The internet is great, but to some extent there's best endeavors in there. If it doesn't quite reach there, you send it again. Guaranteeing that end-to-end delivery means that we also need to have security right at the heart of that.
Okay, and is that something that BT has already? I know you have a very capable and enthusiastic head of security at BT who's working with an awful lot of innovative companies in that area. Is that all set and ready for that 5G world?
I wouldn't say it's complete yet. There's work still to do, but it's certainly something that we feel in a strong position on.
Okay. So what do you want to see between now and next year's show from the industry, from the ecosystem, helping BT to what it needs to do? What are the innovations that need to happen next?
Well, we need to get ever closer to 5G new radio chipsets in smartphones.
Okay.
You know, and looking and talking here, we will be much closer next year. So I think that's really critical. And then let's try and, you know, finalize some of the key things that we're talking about at the moment around standards. So the core network for 5G, but also, you know, there's a lot of discussion around convergent RAN, or O-RAN has been talked about this week. This is about how we optimize, how we connect the radio network into the core network. And we're a bit spoilt for choice there. We need to land on some decisions, I think, there, and hopefully that'll move in the next year.
Okay. And do you think it's surprising in a little way, at this year's event I've heard a lot more talk about end-to-end solutions from one point of delivery, whereas the last couple of years has been very much about how can there be best of breed and integrating and interoperating technologies from lots of different partners. Do you feel that there's a swing back to maybe sourcing from one or two single points of partnership and reference? I
actually think the way the technology and the standards are emerging, you still have both options.
Right.
You know, and we will look at the pros and cons. Obviously, there are pros and cons of both options.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, one has purchasing leverage, the other has simplicity end to end. We continue to look at both those options.
Okay, all right. Well, it'll be great to see how it develops over the next year. Howard, thanks for joining us today. So this is Ray LeMaitre from Light Reading with Howard Watson from BT for OrbTV.